Right, so let's discuss the roadmap for training operator first. So yeah, like we created this issue to track like the most like the deliverable features that we want to have in this release. So I think like the one of the most like important feature for us is like fine-tuning APIs for LLMs that John and team are working on. So I think like probably we're gonna give a demo like in a few weeks, whether it is in a community call or in the these calls. Maybe we will do both. Uh, because basically like we want to like show how to use this train Python API to fine-tune your model and how to specify parameters. So we already have like the working example, not working, but basically we have one example that's in our SDK examples here. But we just like want to make sure that everything is working and maybe just provide more kind of, interesting example. Maybe just take one of the, I don't know, um, open source models, whether it is Llama or anything else, maybe some, smaller models like Tiny Llama, I think we're using here. And then just maybe try to fine tune it on a new kind of data and just to see what is the output produced by the model um, on the new data sets. Yeah, so we still need to think about how to present it and like what kind of like demo we want to show. Uh, but I guess like initially, just to like get the initial feedback on the API structure and what can be done with this API would be useful, I believe. Yeah, so probably let me make a note for LLM APIs. Yeah, so because like almost all the changes that we require for SDK it's been done. So we have like another issue to track like the remaining items for this API, like the PVC creation, and like the working example, right? So probably not all these things will be like in 1.9, 1.8, sorry, in 1.8 release of training operator. But maybe it's something we can cover before the feature freeze. Yeah, so other things like we want to support like Kubernetes 1.27 to 1.29 this version. I think we can find agreement with the community. Also, like this will be like the version that Kubeflow 1.9 will support. And we kind of like thinking about deprecation of MX job because like unfortunately Apache MXNet project was archived. And like probably in the first release we will add like deprecation notice to the users so they can like migrate in the next two releases from MXNet to something else. So do we have just maybe a question, do we have anyone else here on the call who you actually using MXNet for their training jobs?
No, not right.
All right. Yeah, it would be interesting to see like how popular is it like across the community because yeah, MXNet was quite popular a while ago because it was very easy to like to configure, and it was it has some advantages over like I believe like GPU utilization rather than like the PyTorch like several years ago. And compared to PyTorch, it even like was more like it was more easier to deploy these jobs. Yeah, so but I mean like without like the support from the upstream community, probably like we shouldn't like support this framework in training operator. Um, yeah, so let's see. I think like our idea just to add deprecation notice and update the Kubeflow website, and then gracefully remove it in the next 1.9 release of training operator. All right. So the other things like the webhook validation and the cell validation, I think this is the one that's UQ just wants to work on. Not sure if like we have time until the feature freeze, but basically I think it will be useful to add this support for training operator, similar to other things what we're doing around the like webhook validation in Katib, right? Yeah, I guess like there are like also like an effort around improving the documentation, and I've created a separate issue, I believe. Yeah, improving docs for 1.8. Yeah, so this one. So in the last like calls, we kind of like discussing how, like we can improve the onboarding process and documentation for training operators. I know that Andrea, she already like started the effort around um, user stories and um, how to onboard new contributors to these projects. Um, I'm also like working on kind of some sort of architecture diagram for training operator and maybe just explaining, one of the distributed, um, techniques. Like for example, taking one of the from the PyTorch GDP, right? Just maybe add that diagram in our Kubeflow website. Like for example, we can like, right now we just have the overview page here where, like we just simply explain the major features and how, training operator connects these kind of, ML libraries within Kubernetes, right? But like I think we just need more kind of, architecture around what exactly it is and how distributed training works. I don't think we should explain, like all the, aspects of distributed training, but just maybe have, diagram that we're kind of, creating the several, workers, uh, uh, like the model weights been distributed across the workers, right? And then like the training is running between them, right? And maybe just say that communication like using RPC happening between them. But I will like take a look at like how it works, like how it's actually explained within PyTorch documentation. And maybe, like we can show something similar here. Um, Yeah, so I guess there are several things like if you want to help us, let me know. Maybe just comment on the issue and I can assign some of this, action items to improve the docs for 1.8 release training operator because for example, like we still need to have like SDK doc generation for our Python SDK. Um, and we kind of like need to improve the contributor guide and move it to the Kubeflow website, the one that we have right now here. Um, I believe it's in the development. So yeah, I think last time we discussed probably like this guide should be moved to the Kubeflow uh, docs here, so you can find all of the documentation in one place. Yeah, so let me make a issue here and make a note here. So okay, docs for any questions, any like suggestions what we can do before the release to improve the onboarding process and docs. I think like Hariom, as I can say, like can you hear us? Yeah, because we can hear as well. Uh, right. Yeah, so any questions like so far for training operator, we can move on for the Katip one. All right, let me quickly cover like what we have like for 0.17 release of Katip. So yeah, I also like created this issue to like identify the action items for 0.17. Yeah, so yeah, there are several things like again like I guess like the major things is supporting new version of Kubernetes. Like we want to like still design the APIs for 1.0 release of Katip, and I think like this is more kind of like significant effort that we need to do relatively soon. I guess like the major thing there, like we want to split, different AutoML techniques for the specific customer sources. Because right now I have like the experiment, like CR where user mostly, like define the hyperparameters. I think like we want to do it like more explicit to say, maybe define this as a tuner and, like network searcher. Like we're still thinking about the naming, but, like make it more explicit what exactly, users want to do within their experiments, like if they want to do the hyperparameter tuning or they want to do architecture search, or maybe in the future they want to like feature engineering, we're probably going to have like different customer sources. I think it's also will be important because like most of the like 99% of the users like use hyperparameter tuning right now within Katib. I don't think like network search is ready for production, and it's not like very used today. So I think like being say that's, for example, tuner API is ready to be like 1.0, and maybe suggestion and trial API. But for network search, we can like say it will be just in the beta phase right now, and then we probably like in the future gradually migrate to 1.0 APIs in the future. Yeah, so I kind of like have this in our roadmap. Maybe this year we're gonna have a 1.0 release. But we still need to find someone who can like, help us to design these APIs and maybe just let us know like what is the best structure for APIs to do hyperparameter tuning. Yeah, so I think we have this. Also, like there are several things around like improving uh, the configuration for database. We have like also like I think I forgot to mention that we have this kind of like Google Summer Code we try to attend. We have several project ideas for 2024 for students. So yeah, we have like few things here for training operator from the Katib side, for example, like implementing LLM APIs for Katib, right? Because here what we did for training, right? We want to do the same for tuning, right? So basically when maybe users just can take the model and do the like hyperparameter tuning across the multiple like parameters using this simple Python APIs. And we can basically like wrap PyTorch job within Katib because it is possible today, and then just like have it just simple Python API to define the tuning process from the user perspective, where they just set like the model, data set, and the parameters they want to optimize, and then we will do like fine tuning on multiple trials to identify the best hyperparameters for their models, right? Yeah, so this is the one that's very interesting for us, and like have so we can have like his story around LLM ops within Kubeflow. Yeah, so maybe this one we can cover before the release, but maybe just at least like design makes sense. Yeah, so for training side, like also I think we have like few things around supporting JAX, and maybe push-based metrics for Katib. Uh, yeah, and a docs generation, lock uniform. So all these things will be related to the new release, and well, I hope like we can find like uh some folks who just kind of will volunteer for this type of task for training operator and Katib. Um, yeah, let me just make a link here so you can take a look. Yeah, so and the rest of the features, I think it's for again adding unit test, generating the docs, you like updating this kind of tune API to support more kind of like environment parameters. And again, like improving those for the Katib side, again, like adding architecture, improving like the contributor guides, and other things like around like pre-commit hooks and the Katib guides. I think we already did it. Yeah, so we kind of like updating the documentation recently for Katib config to explain like what kind of new things we have there within the Katib configuration, like basically with init and runtime parameters here. Yeah, so yeah, I think this is pretty much it. So let me see. Yeah, tools for code generator. Yeah, probably we need to do some changes in gRPC APIs to update like the code generator for it. All right. Yeah. So any questions? Any other like thoughts on like what we should include in the release? All right, sound good. Any like new members who just like want to introduce themselves to the community? All right, that sounds good. Then I think like we can like like finish early today. So as I said, like if you like you want to attend this call regularly again, please let us know on this Google form. So like we can identify like better time for everyone to attend these calls. Um, and then like maybe we can move the alternative time to different time zone because like I think it will be also a new meetings around model registry. So we just want to make sure that we're not going to conflict with them and like give folks availability to attend like both meetings at different time. All right, thank you so much for your time then, and I hope to see you soon in 2 weeks or in a Kubeflow community call. Yeah, so all right, thank you, Shashank. So yeah, for unit testing for Katip, I think I can, like assign you this issue so you can help us. And just to let you know, like maybe quickly before we wrap up the call. So we already have like the unit test for, training operator. Let me quickly share my screen. So yeah, it's unit test. Um, yeah, I think it's here, right? Yeah, I remember like Debunker actually he was working on this previously. Yeah, so this is the PR for adding the training operator SDK unit test for training client. So maybe let me just post it here. Yeah, let me okay, make the link here. Yeah, all right. Sounds good. Yeah, so just feel free to assign the issue for you and like you can just start working on this. I guess like we already have this. So just assign this issue for you and let us know that you're working on this. And then like when you have time, you can just let me submit the PR so like we can work together on this. Just to merge it before the feature freeze. Yeah, and I think like we need to probably like follow the similar model that we do for training operators. So just to have consistency across like multiple SDKs in the different parts of the project. Yeah. Hi, Hariom. Do you want to say hi to the community? Do you have any questions? All right. Yeah, that is fine. So, I mean, like, feel free to, like, Hariom, let me know if you have any questions in Slack. Um, and yeah. Community have some good first issues. Definitely. So, like you can reach out to me in Slack and I can help you to guide you like through, like how to get onboarded or if you have any questions to, like how you can start contribute to any kind of part of the Kubeflow projects. And also like we're looking to, like improving the contributor guides and the onboarding process for new, like folks who are trying to be part of the community. Um, Yeah, and maybe I can help you to guide you how to, like create the first PR there. All right, sounds good. So thanks everyone again, and I hope to see you again next time in 2 weeks. Yeah, see you everyone.